Hello and welcome to the Navy Blue Corner. I'm Ian and the Blues have just smashed Richmond by 61 points. Unfortunately, the late Sunday Arvo game has caused absolute chaos though to Lockie and my schedules with him over in London. So it's just going to be me to take you through it. So let's crack in. And it was a game that really going in, I don't think many were really worried. They weren't nervous. I definitely wasn't. And it's basically just due to Richmond's form, where they are right now, where they're sitting on the ladder, and they're at the start of their rebuild. But there was still a need to get a job done and a bit of an interest in what can we see from Carlton, and is there anything that we can really learn from this game? In our preview, I was discussing the need to just send a message to Richmond. This is our fixture now, and really make it another statement performance. Make Richmond dread this fixture for the next 10 years. And honestly, it started slow. Richmond clearly were just happy to sit back, clog the space deep in their defensive half, look to spring off that counter-attack and hurt us with leg speed. And it probably took us a while to adjust to that kind of game style. We've played a team every single week that has been in the top 8, that has been that contending for finals kind of outfit. And we haven't really come up against a team that's been happy to sit back, one that hasn't wanted to take the game to us, go head on with it. And I felt we probably struggled early to find some space. It was really only in the second quarter when we started to slow things down, be content to own the possession. And you saw a bit more of a professional way that we kind of went about it. A lot more of a mature performance. We started chipping through them by foot. We were a lot more composed, particularly entering that ball inside 50. Our final third play was just a lot better all round. And even with that, we probably still couldn't kick away. Richmond were just lingering but going into halftime, I was weirdly calm about it all. Honestly, I was calm throughout the whole game. Feel as if I'm really growing as a Carlton fan throughout this season. And I'm interested to know how others feel and their thoughts and emotions throughout this game. Because right now, there's just this trust and faith that is really being built where I'm confident that we will get the job done. That even if we're down or something isn't going right, we'll just overcome that. There'll be a patch in the game where we take full control. And even if we lose a game that we're expected to win, which will happen at some stage, look at Sydney. They just lost to Freo at home. It's probably going to happen to us at some stage. But I'm confident that even if that happens, we'll bounce back and we'll make up for it the next week. I'm just not worried anymore about these little things. And experiencing what we did last season, the absolute low, the lowest that we've kind of known all too well, finally getting past that to then have the most successful season that I've ever witnessed. It's really built this belief. And growing up, the only Carlton that I knew was shit. And you really rode those highs and lows way too much. Each loss felt like another knife straight into your heart because you'd longed so much to be good. And it was just another reminder that that's not happening. Carlton still aren't winning games of football. And equally, the wins, they felt like you'd won a final because they came so infrequently. You didn't know what to feel when they happened. Every win was, you just had to savor every moment, every kind of positive component of any game. Now, having experienced real final wins and the run that we went on last year, I just feel more balanced as a fan, and I can remove a level of that unhealthy emotion and stress. Yeah, I still care every week, but there's just this weird calmness around whatever happens will happen. I know we'll rectify it the next week. It may all come crashing down, this whole thing, at any moment. So why not just enjoy the ride, soak it all in, and enjoy the moments. I've never experienced this kind of Carlton. Even last year, when we went on that run, there was this degree of stress given we needed to win every single game. We couldn't slip up. And every single moment, I'm not sure I was able to enjoy those because I was still worried about the next week. Yeah, we won, but we need to win next week. And who are we playing? How are we getting it done? It could all go away. What if we don't make finals? What if this happens? All those stresses were there. And I probably didn't take the time to soak it all in. So this time, this year, 2024, I'm taking it all in. For better or worse, whatever happens, just enjoy it. That's where I'm sitting right now. And I guess one of those big takeaways from this game, because halftime, Richmond, they still lingered, was that third quarter. And this team, this Carlton right now, just seem to know when they need to go up to that extra gear. And that's not easy. Like, to identify it is one thing, but to have the ability to take the game away from the opposition within 15 minutes, that's an attribute of a contender. 7 goals in the quarter to 1, and then 6 goals to 3 in the last quarter. That's the maturity and growth of this season. It's that not only can we take the game away from you, but in previous years, we'd probably cling on to that lead and hope for the best. Now, we aren't even letting teams have a sniff. We're taking the game away and shutting it down. And that's probably what's impressing me the most. And that's what I'm trying to take out from games like this one against Richmond. But let's delve into our Navy noise segment. I think that one of those big talking points heading into the game, really right near the beginnings of this game, right at the death, was the Ruck situation. TDK was a laid out as we managed him after a few big performances. Why not give the man a bit of a break? And that meant that our man, Big Brad Pitt, came in, and a lot were probably worried. How does the midfield look? Are we going to be too slow? What's going to happen to the turnover game? Will that disappear? And, well, surely we can put that to bed now, because we've gone and scored the highest total of points from turnover for the year. We scored 96 points from turnover. Again, that's Carlton's highest this season and the 4th highest from any team in the AFL for 2024. So big shout out to Bagalytics on Twitter for that stat. That is massive. And to do it and to just finish that part of the conversation that we can't score from turnover with Pitt, guess what? We just did it. And I think the Rucks and the whole Pitto discussion, we're really stuck on the surface level of this conversation. And I love that we can afford to rest De Koning and that we're confident with Pitto leading the line. That's perfect. But I think the midfield was down for a lot of that game. However, to put that on one player like Pittonet, that's insane to me. One player does not make that much of a difference to how we play and how we move the ball. There's enough cattle out there and enough quality cattle to sort out any kind of slight tweak to a ruckman, surely. And I think if you look deeper, you could argue that, well, it's Chera's first game back from a long layoff. He's probably going to be a bit sluggish. And even Pitto himself, it's his first game back. And we're expecting him to be the greatest ruckman of all time and emulate what De Koning is. And I think that that's a little unfair. We know they're different players. You also take Hewitt out of the midfield. All of a sudden, that's a lot of change to a position that's been really stable during this hot run of form. It's probably not going to be perfect immediately. I felt as if they built into the game, and once things finally got running, everything was moving perfectly. And I love that Walsh as well, he's started to step up a lot in the most recent weeks. He's continued to build into the season after missing that start and the end of that preseason with the back injury. And he's starting to add those goals back into his game. And his entry inside 50 that we probably criticized, maybe harshly, a month or so ago, they've completely shifted, and it's become a big strength of his again. I think it'll be interesting to see what does happen with the Rucks this week, with both of them being available and potentially and most likely Kennedy missing at least this week. But I'm just, again, really confident with where we are at. I know a lot just want De Koning. Some are saying we need both. I know I'm probably fence-sitting with this, but I just want to see every possible combination right now. Why not try a few different things? See what happens. I think it's the best way that you can learn and get that evidence that you need for when the season is really on the line, and the coaches will know exactly what moves to make in September. Now's the time to tinker to work that out, so why not do it? That's my take on it anyway. Let me know what you feel on the Ruck situation. Drop it in the YouTube comments, and head over, if you're listening in podcast form, over to the socials at Navy Blue Corner. because I know this debate will rage on for the rest of the season every single week. I know that right now, but a man that we need to talk about. He has copped a lot so far this season, but it is, of course, Orazio Fantasia. And this sort of topic, I want to talk a little bit about those lesser lights in our forward line because they stepped up when Harry and Charlie were quiet for their standards on the scoreboard. And we've talked a lot about Fantasia this year. And while we haven't always loved his game, it's been clear that there is a role the coaches love him playing. It's why they've selected him so much this season. And in recent weeks, I think I've started to enjoy those little glimpses we've seen of him, that great burst of speed, some beautiful kicks inside 50. We've been crying out for speed and better ball use by foot. So I think we need to give this man some credit that this is what he's bringing to the team, something we've needed for a long time. And even with that, I think the issue has always been that productivity. We just weren't really seeing enough. Creating space for others, a few nice kicks, just didn't feel like enough. But this is that kind of performance that is really going to win those fans over. Being able to see the tangible goals on the scoreboard, the reward for effort, and the work that has been put in is one thing. But then to kick 4 goals and be the one to stand up when we needed someone in that forward line to do so, I think that that's something that'll hopefully endear him to the fans so we can start to get around this man and love him, the way we've really taken to some of the other role players this year. Absolutely loved Fantasia's game. And the other role player that finally got some on the scoreboard, he got that reward for the work that we all know and love that he puts in every single week. Flocky Fogarty, 3 goals and a few important goals in there as well. As far as that timing goes, when we needed them, he seemed to be the guy that stood up and put it through the big sticks. Just love everything about this guy. And the only thing you could probably knock him on was the goals. So to see him nail them this week, get that opportunity and take it, that's really exciting. It just brings a smile to everyone's face. And we're really starting to build a bit more of a connected and potent forward line. We've said that the next step is creating more threats, more than just Charlie, more than just Harry. And right now on form, Williams, Owies, Fogarty, Fantasia, they're all proving that, if we need someone else to step up, they can be the ones that kick a bag. Chincotta keeps adding the goals to his game. And we're getting so many more options inside 50. You could throw Elijah Hollins into it. He just constantly seems to be finding space inside 50, just inside the arc, and he's getting on the score sheet. We could start to really become a team that's hard to defend, hard to stop, because if you stop one of them, someone else is going to stand up and they're going to get off the chain. This is that next evolution that we need to become that true contender, to be that hard team to stop, because we love the defense. We love the midfield. It's those role players inside 50. Hopefully this game is a step in that right direction and can give a bit more confidence to a few of the players out there. But let me know what you guys took away from this game. How are you seeing the Ruck dilemma right now? What were your key learnings that you took away from that win? Let me know in the comments on YouTube. Head over to the socials at Navy Blue Corner. But let's head into the Grill the Corner. We chuck this out on the socials, on Twitter and Instagram as always. So as much as I said, head over to the socials to let me know that. If you want to stay in contact with us, if you want your questions in, whether you think of it during the week, whether it's after the game, follow us at Navy Blue Corner and we will read your questions out. And we've got a couple here that I'd love to touch on. The first one here kind of talks about that forward line, and I think this is a really good jumping off point and a really good discussion starter. It's from Vinny Labate, and he asks, why hasn't Charlie kicked many bags this year? Is it form, role, structure change, or is it just others pitching in? And I tried to have a look at this. I tried to delve a little bit deeper, because the first question I thought was, has he not kicked many this year? And I know I've definitely felt as if he hasn't had those big, 6, 7, 8 goal games this year, but he's been so consistent. I needed to look at the raw numbers to see if maybe I was thinking of things wrong. And what's kind of crazy is looking at games this season that Charlie Curnow has kicked 5 or more goals. Last year in 2023, 6 times he kicked 5 or more goals. This year he's only done it once. So I think as far as bags are concerned, Vinny, he's not kicking them. He is not getting off the chain as much as we saw last season. What's the reason? Is there another cause? So I wanted to go deeper. Let's have a look at 4+ goals per game. How many times did he do that last year? 6 times. This year, 5. So he's maybe not getting those ridiculously high goal games, but he's still kicking enough, like 4 or so a game. It's why he's leading the Coleman. There's enough of that. And also think about we're still, halfway through the season, and he's already had 5 compared to the 6 last year games where he's kicked 4 or more. There's a lot more time to go, a lot more time for him to kick goals. What I think's changed is the consistency in his goal kicking. Last season, 7 times, he only kicked 1 goal in a game. He never got to 2, just the singular goal. This season, 0. He has not had a game where he's just kicked 1. He's at least kicked 2. So right now, I'm seeing that just from his game, his highs and lows are different. He's not having those big games, but he's not having those quiet games. He's still maybe having a bit more of an even contribution while still getting enough. I think 4 is enough. You want to be higher? That's great. But he's still contributing enough in that forward line. And maybe some causes to go into Vinny's question a little deeper. I mean, have a look at Harry. Last season, 29 goals from 21 games. He's only played 15 games this year. He's already kicked 34 goals. That right there probably means that Charlie isn't getting as many looks at goal when Harry's starting to contribute and he's starting to nail those goals. And then I think, yeah, you're probably right. We're getting a bit more out of those smalls. We're getting more from other options. The way we're probably looking to move the ball inside 50 isn't just this kick it deep to Charlie, go quick and long. We're seeing guys like Elijah Hollands on the arc. We're looking inboard. We're lowering the eyes. I think the way we're moving everything is allowing us not to just focus on Charlie Curnow. We are passing it around. We're creating better looks. And I think that that's going to obviously help us in the long term. But I don't know. He's still kicking enough goals for me. He's still leading the Coleman. Let me know what you guys think. Has there been a bit of a structure change? Is it just other players pitching in? Do we need Charlie to be kicking 6, 7, 8 goals every week? Or if he's kicking 3 or 4 and others are stepping up, is that better all round for team balance? I want to know what you guys think. Leave your thoughts in the comments. Head over to the socials. Links are in the description. They're in the show notes. Very easy to find. And the last listener question that I've got this week for you is from Michael Madden. And gee, this absolutely nails half my thoughts throughout this game. He asks, BT accused Cripps of overusing the ball to pad his stats during the Blues and Tigers game. Then at the end, he claimed that Carlton supporters will be passing brown paper bags up and down Lygon Street in shady deals to get hold of finals tickets. Why is this man allowed to call Blues games? And yeah, I think that comment at the end really irked me. We know long time listeners will know Lockie and my disdain for BT and just bad commentating in general, which it seems like it's only getting worse. There's a few good commentators out there, but for whatever reason, the broadcasters aren't giving them the spotlight, and we're stuck with guys like BT. Clearly have some kind of bias, whether it's conscious or subconscious, I don't know. And there's times that I guess while we're winning, I can put up with these little annoying comments throughout the game, but it's that final siren that annoyed me so much this week. That's when you as a commentator, you're meant to elevate these moments, and he's there throwing jabs and the brown paper bag comments. It's like you just can't help yourself, you idiot. But I don't know. I spoke on the Blue Abroad show Monday night, spoke about this a little bit, and Terry kind of had this opinion. I quite like it where, for as much as we hate it and we hate the negativity and these, backhanded compliments and little jabs that are thrown, should we start to get around it? Should we start to enjoy that these opposition fans and people that hate Carlton, they're doing it because they're scared. They're doing it because they hate to see Carlton good, and this is their defense mechanism kicking in. Should we revel in opposition fans losing their heads and commentators absolutely not being able to contain their hatred for Carlton? Should this be something we're embracing now? This us against them mentality? Maybe we should. I mean, for those that watch games at home and have to suffer through BT, either listen to the great Pommy in Oz over on YouTube who does the watch-alongs. He's great. Great biased Carlton commentary throughout the game. Or if you want, your traditional commentators, I've plugged them before on the podcast. Go to SEN. Get on the SEN sync. You can time it basically and sync it up with the broadcast, because that's been the issue sometimes of trying to listen to the radio. It's not in time with what you're watching and you're like, this just doesn't match. I can't listen. Well, you can adjust the seconds of delay in the feed from the commentary so you can eventually get it right, and at least you listen to someone that's not BT. So that's my recommendation for him, but I don't know how he's allowed. I don't know how, after that comment, the broadcasting partner isn't like, mate, that is disgraceful. You can't be saying shit like that. Like, imagine if Essendon, I know I hate them as much as anyone else, but imagine they win a game and the commentators being like, oh, I mean, they'll be back in the change rooms pumping up with a couple of syringes. That's how good they're playing. It's like that all over again. Like, you just can't make those comments while commentating on Channel 7 and trying to be professional. I can do it on YouTube when no one gives a shit and I'm just some random Carlton podcast. But if you're meant to be this respected, commentator of our game, the lead commentator of the lead broadcast network, I just think that these things are, ridiculous. And who knows? Hopefully we'll get some change in 2025. But for now, we kind of have to put up with it or find those alternatives that I've thrown out there. But thanks for the listener questions. Absolutely appreciate them each and every week. Keep sending them in because it's always one of my favorite parts of the show. But there's not long to go in this episode. A few things I want to cover. And one of those is the votes, the Navy Blue Corner Blue Bagger Badge of Honor. Now, I'm going to have to find Lockie's votes. We're going to have to hunt him down, send him some DMs, maybe some threatening ones from myself, because I need to tally these up and find out the leaderboard. But my 3-2-1 this week, 3 votes. Clearly, it's going to Paddy Cripps. Mate, what is this man doing? 2 games in a row of 40-plus possessions. Absolutely ridiculous. He had like 14 or something clearances. He's gone to another level. He's just leading from the front. When we need him to, he's going berserk. And I've never seen him run out games as well right now. He's not only doing it for 4 quarters, but he's bursting past players. I haven't seen Paddy Cripps do this since he was like 19 years old. This is crazy. He's in like career form again. Give the man another Brown, though. He absolutely deserves it. And the 2 votes this week, bit more interesting. Trying again to the 2 votes goes towards someone who went above what we expect of them, above their role, and talked about him already. It has to go to Fantasia. For as maligned as he is from everyone, including myself at times this season, questioning what's he bringing? Is he bringing enough? Why are we not playing a different player instead of him? Well, there you go. That'll silence us for a couple of weeks. Love to see it. I want to see these guys respond. I want to see them at their best. I get excited when guys like Fantasia, when guys like Fogarty kick goals more than I do a Charlie goal, because I don't know. I like watching the lesser lights and those kind of players get goals. That's what makes me happy. So Fantasia gets the 2. And the 1 vote this week, I mean, I need to know everyone's votes. Everyone watching this right now, drop them in the comments. If you're listening, head over to the socials, because everyone deserves a vote just about this week. So I want to know who you've nailed it down to. My one, it could have been Walsh. It could have been about 20 players. Like Blake Acres had a really good game as well just after re-signing, but I had to give the 1 vote to Nick Newman. He does it every single week. He is an 8 out of 10 every week, and I thought he absolutely marshaled the back line, mopped up well, took some intercept marks, just smartly used the ball. Loved to see him pointing and yelling at players to get in right positions. It's the leadership you need, and even when you're, 6, 7, 8 goals up, he's still marshalling everyone and making sure that, everyone is pulling their weight, and that's what I love to see from him. And he just goes from strength to strength every single week. Those are my votes. Let me know yours in the comments. Can't wait to read them after this. And this last segment is one we all know and love. It's, of course, the Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the ceremony of ceremonies. Straighten your tie, adjust your monocle, and raise a pinky for the Navy Blue Corner Hall of Fame. Yes, it's the Hall of Fame, a solo Hall of Fame this week. So if you did come across anything weird, wacky, any funny stories from the footy this week, drop them in the comments. You can induct anyone you want. It's not just about me and Lockie inducting every week. We want to hear from you guys. But look, I feel like the last few months, we've been very positive in the Hall of Fame. It's normally been a funny moment or something positive to induct. Maybe it's a hero at the game. Who knows? But we haven't maybe had as many rants as we did in previous seasons. So I think it's a solo pod. Why not have a traditional Ian rant to finish this podcast off? Because you talked about in the listener questions, BT commentating and how bad Channel 7 is for that. Well, I am going to induct the director, the producer, whoever's job it is at Channel 7 on Sunday to select which camera feed we're getting on the television at which stage, because they have potentially had the worst attempt at this that I have ever seen. Now, it was a Sunday afternoon. It was a Sunday night. I was getting hungry. Halfway through the second quarter, I'm all watching the TV, but I'm also trying to cook some dinner here. I'm hungry. I need some food. So there are some stages where I lost a little bit of the vision. There's only so fast that I can move in my brittle body condition from the frying pan to the couch while trying to cook my salmon. And so I missed at one stage, there was a Sammy Walsh goal where I think it was like the third one that we'd kicked in a row. We're just starting to kick away. It happened so quickly. I'm pretty sure it was from the middle, from the center bounce straight away. I thought I had a couple of seconds here to flip the salmon in the pan. Apparently not. And so, look, all I saw was Sammy Walsh streaming inside 50 and putting it through the big sticks, but I had missed how it got there. And like most times, I'm thinking, well, that's all good because I can sit here and watch a replay. In about 5 seconds, I'm going to see exactly how this played out. Then I can go back to finishing off the dinner. But no, Channel 7 thought, you know what the big story is right now? It's not that Carlton has kicked away and they're now probably going to win the game. One of the most key goals of this game, the turning moment, the pivotal goal from Sammy Walsh. They've kicked 3 in a minute. No. Let's show Dustin Martin on the bench getting subbed out. Look, I can understand the choice. Dustin Martin, legend of the game, getting subbed out. Is this the last moment of his career? We need to get on Dusty Cam. But let's not stay on him for 20 minutes. The camera, they didn't even change angles. Like, if you're going to give us the Dusty Cam, at least have 5 or 6 cameras showing different angles, getting different lighting, a different perspective. It was a stationary camera stuck on Dustin Martin to the point where not only did we never see a replay of this, they then brought up the little picture-in-picture where I thought, okay, maybe they're saving me. I get to see Sam Walsh and how this goal happened. No, they started playing the actual game in the picture-by-picture. They didn't even get back to it until bloody 20 minutes later because Dustin Martin's getting subbed out. I don't care, Channel 7. What are you doing? Show me the goal. They never showed it. At some stage, there was a pause in the play a minute later, and we still didn't see a replay of the goal. So that absolutely infuriated me. Screw Dustin Martin. I hope that was his last moment because it took up enough airtime that it should have been. You know what I mean? It was just ridiculous. Show the replay of the goal. It's like your one job when the big plays happened. Show me a replay, then go back to Dusty Cam. So the producer, the director, whoever you are of Channel 7, you're going into the Hall of Fame. I'm expecting better next time. But let me know if you have any inductees this week into the Hall of Fame. Anything you got annoyed about this week. I assume there's 1,000 people typing, getting BT inducted into the Hall of Fame for probably the 12th time for something shit he said during the game. If you have a funny story, anything you bumped into at the game, love to know. Drop it in the comments. But that is pretty much going to wrap up this episode this week. So let me know your thoughts on everything I've covered. Do you have any key takeaways? If there's anything else you think that I've missed that you wanted me to cover, drop it in the comments. I'll be there after this is uploaded and I'll be replying to absolutely everything. Is there a player that we haven't spoken about? I've just realized right now I've barely spoken about Lockie Cowan and he was in my notes in front of me about 20 times. Loved his game, 17 disposals, 7 marks, 5 intercept possessions, 4 score involvements, 3 inside 50s. Thought he was great. Thought he really stepped up in that second quarter when we needed a bit of composure. Great to see the young man building. There you go. There's your Lockie Cowan loving. But let me know anything else. I'm keen to keep the discussion rolling, especially when it's just a solo pod. Feels like I'm talking to myself, so I want to chat to someone else. Drop the comments, head over to the socials and leave your comments there as well. Send us a DM. It allows me not to work for 10 minutes and I can just be on my phone and start messaging someone back. So make sure you do that. We'll be here Wednesday, 8 p.m. on Blue Abroad YouTube channel for our build-up show. Cannot wait to get stuck in to talk about the GWS game. Build it up, give it a preview, talk team selection, talk some breaking news. I mean, Jordan Boyd's potentially been given a 1-match ban. We don't know the severity of Matt Kennedy's injury just yet. We'll discuss all of that on our midweek show. Remember, Blue Abroad, 8 p.m. Wednesday night. If you listen in podcast form, it'll be available exactly where you listen to this. So make sure to follow, subscribe so you never miss an episode. It's easy. You don't have to go searching. You know where it's going to be every week. So yes, that is going to wrap this episode up. It's been great to talk about a massive win against Richmond. It's about time. We absolutely owed them one. Up the bloody baggers. See you guys next time.